All right, welcome back, everyone. Episode 4, Power Play Puck. We're joined here with Youngstown Phantoms forward, recent Clark Cup champion and Brown commit, Miles Gunty. Miles, thank you. Thank you for being on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas.
Well, I was just going to say, Jordan, as you can see, his spot is replaced by a trophy today. Unfortunately, he can't make it, but he's currently at the beach, so we didn't want to have him zoom in. So we're just going to be doing a two host, one guest podcast right now, one trophy podcast. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, normally we kind of start with people's youth careers and stuff like that, but I feel like it's kind of hard not to start with this. I mean,
it's kind of glaring us in the face.
Yeah, obviously Youngstown had a kind of a crazy year. You had a crazy year with everything that went on. So just you want to walk us through kind of your last 12 months?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, look at this thing. It was a pretty great end of the year. I think our coach Ryan Ward, he was saying it all year long that he knew we were going to break the sort of the stigma, I guess, if you will, of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, and we ended up doing that at the end. But again, it couldn't really have ended up, especially for me, given the way it started. It was a week of training camp, coming back home, getting a couple hip surgeries. I really was just happy to even move back to Youngstown, let alone play a game, let alone play in some playoff games, let alone win a Clark Cup. So again, it went really well for the team, went really well for me. Couldn't have been happier with the year.
Dude, this trophy's huge. How heavy is it? Pick it up for us.
It's not too bad.
Oh!
It's not light, but it's
Stanley Cup-esque, though.
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit more green.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the names right here. You got Joe Pavelski on the 2003 Waterloo Blackhawks team.
There's some big names.
I know you got, there's a lot of good
Johnny
names.
Gaudreau's on
Gaudreau has come through. A lot of good names that have come through.
Oh, yeah.
But, you mentioned... getting hip surgery and stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think we'll do what we always do and start at the beginning. Obviously, you're a Bethesda native. Shout out you Thez. You know what it is. You say you grew up in Bethesda. Who'd you start playing for? I mean, obviously I know the answer, but
I was Montgomery Blue Devils, and then eventually Team Maryland. But started off with you at with Coach Keegan, Montgomery Blue Devils. Couple good years, couple Silver Sticks championship wins.
Not a big deal.
I think honestly, still to this day, Rob Keegan's one of the greatest coaches I've ever had. I think he, in terms of dealing with how old we were at the time, 9, 10, 11 years old. I mean, he got us ready for everything. There was no lapse in effort at all. That will be tolerated by him.
I mean, he took it really seriously.
Oh yeah, no, we did some sideboards. We were doing the 2 hard laps after every single drill. We were probably the best conditioned team in the world.
I mean,
as Brooks would say.
We had 11 guys on our team one year, including the goalie.
That was nuts, but it was a good time, and obviously we were really young, so formed those bonds early. Remember countless hours of playing hockey, pond hockey with you guys. So it was a really good time. Team Maryland for 11 year or whatever year, Pee Wee minor. Pretty much the same group. I feel right. We didn't lose a lot of guys to the little caps, but that was also really good. I think first 2 years with Mike Weiss and got the Quebec tournament. That was awesome.
Yeah, we touched on that with Ben our last episode. Yeah. Tell us, from your perspective, what going to Quebec meant to you and how you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't, as at that age, playing hockey, the Quebec tournament, is a dream. And so my brother was fortunate enough to also go to it, and hearing the stories from him, seeing the pictures about that, his little pin bags from him, it's just, oh my God, I was so excited to go. And
the pin bag.
The pin bag, that was a huge part of that for me. I love that. But no, I mean, it was an unreal experience. Again, 12 years old, living with a Quebec billet family, that was just you're never going to get an experience like that in any other place. So, that was awesome. Obviously, stayed at Team Maryland for a while there until pretty much the end of high school. And, I think Team Maryland, especially now, obviously, Robbie Murden, who's the new head, wasn't there when I was there, but I know him well. I skated with him a bunch. I mean, they were great when I was there, and they're going to continue to grow and get even better.
It's hard to find a youth hockey director better than him. I feel
I've just never met anybody like him in my life.
Really?
He's one of a kind.
He is one of a kind.
Yeah, I've never
I haven't met him before.
I've never met someone who is just it's not because he's not the at least in front of me, he's never been like the loudest guy. I mean, I know we've like encountered some coaches in the past that like to yell, but like I'm sure he yells. It has nothing to do with that, but like he seems like it's like nonverbal. His like energy that he brings to the table every day. Like you can just
good
feel
energy.
Like you're talking, and his eyes are just like he's just ready to go at all times. Like I can tell he's gonna do some great things with Team Maryland. So.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone so excited to get on the ice every
That's
single.
what I mean.
We'll skate with him, and just like a summer skate in July, and he's pumped to get on the ice with us, and he's doing the drills with us.
I don't know a lot of coaches that are willing to get up at like 6:30 in July to skate.
Yeah,
so,
seriously. No, I was gonna say like in our years, in the past probably 8-9 years, like Team Maryland's undergone like a lot of change.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like they're going in a different direction than they have been in the past few years, trying to get kids from outside of the area in here. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think. In the past, like when we played youth hockey together, like the top 10 teams, a lot of them were those hockey academies that like, not even just at boarding schools, but like you see like Mount St. Charles and BK and all those places, like when they bring kids from all around the country, like, I mean, you just can't really stop teams like that. And then when you combine it with great coaching, like what Robbie has to offer and everybody here, like it's just, I mean, Team Maryland's going to be really, really good this year.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I feel like they're trying to do it at all ages, but especially the younger ages too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like the pipeline that they've all set up is really unbelievable, and I can't really start too young, I guess.
So you mentioned the pipeline that Team Maryland was trying to build. How did you take your steps after you finished at Team Maryland?
Yeah, so I was able to my 16U year play some games with Maryland and with Youngstown, and I think.
Maryland Black Bears.
The Black Bears, that's what sorry, yeah, the Black Bears. I think like when you're, especially like at that age, you like playing at Piney, you see the Black Bears skate and like it's, wow, they're all in their visors, they're all huge and whatever, but like when you're that young, like 16 years old, like getting the ability to practice with them, I think especially my 16U year, I know a bunch of our guys on our team, like we would skate out there like once a week with them, and it's just like you can't really like take for granted what experience is like playing with those older guys, especially at that age. And so for me, getting like the fortunate opportunity to play those, I think it was 10 games that year or total, like across the two leagues, like I mean, I didn't do anything grand or like crazy in the games, but even just like learning what it means to forecheck in the USHL, learning what it means to have good wall work and then all, like you cannot take that experience for granted when you're that young.
Definitely a lot more perspective, like going into your 18s year.
Yeah.
So how did playing those 10 games get you ready after your during your 18s year to play juniors after that?
I think again, like you can't really like get accustomed to the pace of play until you just have the experience with it over and over again. So not just like the games, but practicing with them. Like I know a lot, even in the summertime, like we have a lot of young kids skating with us at Piney for those promotion skates. Like when you're that young, like for me, what happened was like I just wasn't as nervous when it came to like my senior year of high school when I was going to like the Black Bears main camp hoping to make the team. Like I wasn't as like these old guys. Like it's just it was like yeah, they're still old and they're still stronger than me and they're like you're not as like nervous and stuff. Like it's just that goes like that's extremely helpful.
So going back a couple months, your junior year, you committed to Brown.
Yeah.
Kind of walk us through that process, and did you always want to go Ivy, and what kind of how you just settled on Brown?
I think like the end of my 15U year, fall of my junior year, as you said, 16U year, that was really like when I realized I kind of wanted to play like longer than just high school. Like it wasn't really always my goal, like going back to a little kid like dream of playing in college. I think I mean, my brother, he was a lacrosse player, and so it just wasn't, like, in our family. Like, my parents, like, they didn't play hockey. Like, it wasn't really, like, the thing to be dreaming about in our family. So I think end of 15U year, I had a great coach, Tony Horacek. He helped me, like, I don't know, expand my game a little bit and pushed me. And at the beginning of our 16U year, junior year, I think I started talking to some schools. And at the time, like, with COVID, you couldn't really visit anywhere. And my brother, he went to Brown at the time. It just really, like, it couldn't have worked out better for me. Like, that was the perfect school for me.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you talk about your time with the Black Bears. What was kind of your welcome to junior hockey story?
Yeah.
Like, did you have one time in particular?
Yeah. So it was the Fall Classic. I think, actually, to go back a little bit, our first two games were against New Jersey. And I mean, they were pretty, like, they were NAHL games. Like, they were hard, they were physical. But then the weekend after, we had the Blaine showcase. Like, I was kind of feeling, like, comfortable. I think I got, like, an assist that first weekend, so I was, like, a little 17-year-old riding high with his first assist. But it was, like, Yom Kippur. I think the first 2 days of Blaine, so I had to, like, I missed the first 2 games. And we flew out to Minnesota, and like that first game, or like my first game, so the third game of the week, and we were playing Odessa, and I'm like, yeah, the NAHL South, exactly. So I'm like in the defensive zone, getting ready to like receive a puck. I don't really remember if I was just like being lackadaisical, but the bottom line is my face was just in the ice, and like after, like whoever pinched on me, like I still don't know who it was because it was just the biggest hit I've ever received in my life. And after that, like, yeah, like, how
were you feeling after? Like,
I mean, I was just really rattled, but like obviously like that's just a rite of passage. Like,
yeah.
I figured it out eventually, and I mean, I like playing with those guys on that team. Like that was, we didn't really go far, and I mean we didn't make playoffs. Obviously, I think just the guys on that team, like, although we didn't go far, we had such great chemistry. Like I think it was the best like first year juniors experience that I really could have asked for.
How big was the jump from U16 to the NA? Obviously, like going from youth hockey to juniors is big, but how did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously there's a lot of differences like on the ice and in games. I like that I've touched on like the pace and just everyone's being stronger, but really just like every day, like your routine of like going from 2 to 3 practices a week to every single day to watching these 21-year-olds like lifting 85-pound dumbbells when you're like, or not 85, but like my point is like you're a little like I'm a little sophomore in high school looking at these guys just run around with weight in the weight room. I'm like, oh my god, like how am I supposed to get up to these guys? But I think it was just like watching their routine is like it just kind of messes, like it's just different than what you had in youth hockey. So I think just adapting is the biggest thing.
You also had the added stress of going to St. Albans your senior year and playing Black Bears.
I had a lot of long drives that year, but it was it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough to manage like high academics and junior hockey. It's probably something that you don't really have to, a lot of people don't have to experience, but you don't want to experience.
No, I mean, I think I'm very happy that I was able to finish high school at St. Albans. I mean, obviously, you guys went to our rival school, so can't really gas up Landon too much here. But I feel like it's, like I think you can't really stress enough like how important it is to like have that normal childhood life and like finishing high school, being able to go to graduation and like walk with everybody is. I mean, I'm so happy that I was able to still have that and play juniors my senior year.
Yeah, because it's also developing a totally different group of friends than you have with hockey, and sometimes that's good. Yeah, and a lot of guys playing juniors don't get that.
Yeah.
But you talked about routine a little bit. Yeah. When and if have you developed a routine for yourself?
I think that happened like within the first couple months of that season with the Black Bears, because you either like adapt to the new routine or you get lost, and so I think. Obviously, it was different this year for me, like not being in school and also having surgeries. But like our coach loves saying, embrace the monotony of the season, and that's like couldn't really be said any better than that. So I think for all of us, like you wouldn't really rather be doing any other monotonous activity. Like this is what everybody on our team wants to be there.
Embrace the monotony.
Yeah, like everyone wants to be there lifting every day. Everybody wants to be drilled into the ground and practice every day. Like that's obviously it's not fun. Like getting bagged at the end of every practice, but I mean, like this is pretty cool too.
Yeah. So finishing your year in the NAHL, your first full year of juniors, how did that finish out? And then like, what were you looking towards after that?
Yeah, I mean, again, we didn't make playoffs. It wasn't like the greatest team success, I would say, just given that, but again, like that was my first junior year. We gelled as a team in a way that I've never gelled with any youth team before. And I think I knew like after that, like what it's going to take in order to like excel at that level is just a completely different beast than what it was like getting ready for like a youth season. So like training got upped a little bit. We're really lucky that we have a lot of good guys locally to skate with and lift with, and yeah, it couldn't be a better setup here to get ready for that season this year in Youngstown.
Yeah, that's what everybody that we've had on is saying. Like, people don't understand that the hockey in the DMV is way better than most people think, and it's really good for off-season development and skills.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I know you guys had Micah Berger on. Like, the 3-on-3 league that he set up is just unbelievable. I like playing against Patrick Giles and Sam Annis and all these other D1 guys and pro guys. Like, I mean, I know they have them in, like, Florida and California, but, like having one here is just something that I don't think a lot of people would have thought we could do.
And it makes sense.
I honestly think if you took an all-star team from, like, these leagues, from, like, the Florida one, the California one, like, Maryland one, I think Long Island has one.
Yeah,
like,
Pittsburgh, too.
Is there... Oh, the GOAT League,
the
it's
GOAT
called.
Yeah.
I think Maryland could, or the DMV could...
I mean, Stephen Halliday is easily better than most, like, a lot.
How
of
good
players.
is he? How good? We want to have him on sometime soon.
Yeah,
so
I think he's giving our boy Georgi Merkelov a run for his money.
Yeah,
is that right?
Don't tell him I said that.
Merk, you didn't hear it here first.
He's really good.
I mean, I think a lot of guys will tell you he'll be in the NHL at the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so DMV hockey, especially during the summer, it's a great place for you to develop and you know keep your skills on par with everyone else's.
Yeah.
Last summer, what was the process into going to this past year?
Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. I don't think. Again, like it was just a lot of, I mean, just skating, like being on the ice with those guys.
A lot of the
every day,
monotonous work.
Exactly, yeah. Like it's just, again, going back to what I was saying about being like a 16-year-old, 15-year-old getting ready for juniors, like just the more experience you have playing with guys like Stephen Halliday and playing with guys like Patrick Giles, like when you're being pushed by professionals, it's like, I mean, obviously those guys are at a higher level than the USHL. So if you're skating with them every day, like it's just gonna help you all the more for that season. So I think a lot of what I did last summer, which is the same thing I'm doing this summer, is just for me, especially because of the surgeries, just getting in the gym, getting on the ice, and there's really not a lot more that you can do than that. So.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, you had a lot, like, you know, you skated every day, you're working out every day, a lot of wear and tear.
Mm.
Unfortunately, you had to get hip surgery. What was your mindset going into that, like finding out that you had to get surgery?
Yeah, I mean, I've had hip problems for a while. Just that's like the nature of the issues that I had. And so I think last summer, like towards the end of last summer, I was experiencing like a little different kind of pain where I knew that like going into training camp, like this is like you're gonna have to like take care of this. And so at the end of the first week of training camp, right after scrimmaging the Black Bears, like I knew that like I should probably go home and see good old Dr. Rudsky and figure out what's going on. But I think because I've been having these like chronic problems for the past 5 years, it wasn't really like
surprising.
Not even just surprising, but like I kind of knew that it was the right thing to do. Like obviously you're sad to miss however many months I missed, like 7 months of the season, but like if I didn't get the surgery, I'd be having a hip replacement in like a couple years, and it's just like it's kind of a non-negotiable. Like I had to get the surgery, so I think knowing that, like, and especially like understanding that I had a good support team here, like a great physical therapist here. Trainers in Youngstown were doing unbelievable work, like helping me get back on the ice and all that stuff. So I think once I like had trust in the people that were going to help me, it really wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't that bad.
So what was the surgery exactly that you had to get?
Yeah, so I had impingement on both sides, which is basically like a deformity, if you will, in like the way the ball of your hip socket is shaped. And as a result of this, it like tore both labrums, which is like the cartilage or tissue or whatever inside your hip socket. And so I had to get them to like shave down the bone to like fix the impingement and then get 2 new labrums in there.
Ooh. So were you in a lot of pain at the end of it when you were skating, or like did you not feel it that much?
I think because they had to like, I mean, maybe we're getting into the weeds of like the or the like whatever the anatomy of my body is, but like I think they had to like really dislocate the hip socket mid-surgery to like, I don't know, like get in there, I guess. So I think that was more of the issue than like my hips, like the bone itself and then the labrums, like they were fine, but because they dislocated it by like this much, like all the muscles around it were like in a state of shock. And so like getting those back from being atrophied and then like dealing with like constant flare-ups like in my glutes and groin or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that was really it.
Yeah.
But again, like Amber, our shout out Amber Martinelli, our Youngstown trainer. I've never met a trainer like her in my life. She like was there for me every step of the way. Did a lot of work to help me get back on the ice. So again, like it really like it sounds like it was like all this like or like a whole ordeal, but like it really they made it easy for me to get back.
Good.
So, kind of flashing back 3 years, Youngstown had a tough year during COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
12
and 37.
Huh? Yeah.
12 and 37.
Yeah. Got a whole new coaching staff,
Yeah.
new general managers, new trainer, equipment manager.
Yeah.
Kind of talk us through what it's like playing for Youngstown and being around all those people, and just kind of how. I mean, obviously you didn't have a full year, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
how your experience in Youngstown was.
The first thing I'll say is that Ryan Ward is. I mean, I know I've been saying this kind of phrase a lot, but I've never seen a coach like Ryan Ward. I mean, he is, and he'll tell you that too. Like, you're never gonna have another coach like me, and he's what is he, like 36 or 37? So like he's young enough where he's earned like his like we look at him, obviously he's our coach, but like we have the relationship of like a friend brother type relationship with him because of that, and just because of his overall demeanor. But he definitely knows how to push us all every single day, and most of all, like we all want to win for him. Like that's like I know that's not a new thing. Like when teams say that, like it's real though. Like I think I learned that this year. Like it's real. Like every day when you're grinding in the rink, like everyone loves the coach. Like it makes a huge difference.
So what you're saying is like he was like really friendly, like players coach type of guy, but there was a level of respect that, you know, you're not like buddy with him really.
Well, like in the locker room, if he's coming in and being like friendly, like I mean, yeah, you are buddy with him, but like when it's time to grind and he says it's time to dial in, like everyone dials.
Everyone
in.
does.
Like, that's just that is something I've never had before. I haven't had a coach who like is so like proficient on both sides of it, like being.
That's rare.
Yeah,
like
it's
you
very rare,
never really see something like that because usually
Exactly.
if a coach, and we've had them back in our days in Team Maryland,
exactly,
like you have a coach who's a little bit, you know, too buddy, and then when it's time to dial in, you can't really.
You can't really rein in the guys, but he did not have a problem reining us in. We also had an unbelievable captain too, who, if ever there happened to be a time where we couldn't get reined in, Shane LaChance was reining us in, and so that definitely, I think we brought in a whole new like sport like hockey performance staff, like with Tommy Malloy, Amber obviously, and then up at the top Mike Macchione he's a New England sports train like performance. He's like they've just provided us with the utmost atmosphere to like be successful. Our new gym, our new training program that I know we're both on this summer.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's just very like if you want to put in the work, it's very easy to
See the results.
you see some results.
Talk about some of your training regimens and what you're up to this summer.
Yeah, I mean I think like our Tommy's got us on like 4 or 5 days of lifting a week, some conditioning. Like to throw in some other like kind of weird forms of conditioning. So I'm hitting the pool at 6 a.m. sometimes with my physical therapist. That was a big activity for me in the rehab.
Is that right?
Got super into.
Oh, I mean, I'm
yeah.
sure because you couldn't do any running or walking of any sort. The pool's probably good for the
throw on a
hips.
pull buoy and just give my upper back a crazy workout for a little bit. But no, so I've been swimming a little bit and obviously skating. I think for me, like something I talked about with all the people in Youngstown is like this summer I really gotta like get everything dialed in off the ice, like with my hips, and it's not really like important for me to spend 6 hours a day on the ice, like skating, because either that's gonna mess up my hips or it's just like I could just be doing other things with my time. So it's been more lifting, more in the gym than on the ice, but obviously it's August now, so getting back on the ice a little bit more.
Going back really quick to when you were coming off your hip surgery, would you say it was more of like a physical or a mental matter for you to you know push? And you know you were not able to play hockey. You're not really able to move that well. How did you overcome that?
Yeah, I think so. I had my first surgery on September 16th. Second one was on the 17th. I think the month like in between, it's not like I was still like in shock about it, but I think it didn't really like set in, I guess, and that like I was really missing that much. And then when I watched the Fall Classic games, like obviously not right before, but somewhat right before the second surgery, I think that was where it was more of like a little bit of a mental struggle, just like sitting at home every day with my parents, like watching all my buddies from like high school having fun, like joining frats like in college, and then seeing everybody in Youngstown like excelling and performing. Like that was definitely a little bit. I mean, that just wasn't fun. But like I think once I hit November, I remember like learning to walk again, like no crutches, throwing the crutches away right after Thanksgiving. Oh my God! Like after that, it was like I was just so excited to be like lifting again. I was so excited to be like even just walking. Like,
you didn't take any of it for granted.
You just have like a new outlook on everything. Like going like walking from the car to the gym. Like it should not be fun.
Yeah.
But, like for me, I was like so excited to do that, and so I think after that, like every new thing that we were adding was like a new like challenge / accomplishment, and so at that point when I'm relearning how to skate and shoot pucks, like yeah, I think it wasn't that bad. It was mainly just that first 2 months.
So kind of getting back into the into this thing right here. Talk us through the playoff run a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, you heard a lot of like social media back then about how it was like us versus Chicago in the East, and that just could not have been more like further than the truth. I mean, Cedar Rapids had our number. Like, I mean, at least for the time that I was there, like pretty much the entirety of the time that I was there, they were just such a great team, and obviously it was great that we got the bye, beating NTDP twice that last week, like the last week in the regular season, like. But going in against Cedar Rapids, like that was arguably the hardest series for us the entire. I mean, like going into double overtime, that first game, like getting kicked in the ass like right away. Like I think that first game, like when we won that game, it's not like we knew we were going on a run, but it was like we knew that this was like a special group.
Yeah. So that was a tough first series.
Oh my God, that was like to this day I still like talk about it with some of these guys. Like that was definitely.
What made them so tough to play against?
They're just one of the most. I think they're arguably the most physical team in the USHL. At least, definitely in the East Division. I didn't play any of the West or the other conference, but like, yeah, they were just beating the crap out of us, and they had a lot of really skilled guys on top of it, like Ryan Walsh. I mean, when that guy dances around with the puck, like they just had a lot of good guys, and so I think coupled with the physicality, it just made it a lot harder for us. And I think we like to play like this year. We play with that hard skill, and that was really the only team that was trying to like match our hard skill. I think Chicago had their unique, like extremely skilled team, and so I think that was also a challenging series that we'll get to. But like that first game off the bat was just really just like a mind fuck. Like we were just the first thing we know, like we're in double overtime. It's like what is going on?
Oh, yeah, it went that way.
It was the first game. It was like double overtime, and I mean, Andon Sorbonne, you're the man, because that game could have gone on a lot longer.
How about clutch in the playoffs?
Oh my God, yeah, he was ridiculous in the playoffs. Obviously it was like a team effort, but him and Fowler were just on another one the whole playoffs.
Like, what are you guys doing in the what are you guys eating in the locker room after that first overtime?
I mean, that was crazy. Like, our coach comes in, like, I think we were all, I mean, at least for me, like, I was so, like, not like out of it, but I was like just like immersed into the game that when he comes in, he's like, all right, grab a bite to eat, guys, like refuel up. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm starving right now.
You just totally forgot.
I ran for the goldfish, I ran for some trail mix, and I was just like shoveling shit down my throat. But like, no, yeah, I mean, people were eating everything before that. Like there were kids eating Sour Patch Kids just to get a little sugar boost. But like, yeah, no, that first game was crazy, and then obviously got the job done the next night. But yeah, that was definitely a hard first series.
So then you conference finals, you meet Chicago. Kind of Twitter had a field day talking about that series. I mean, you're playing guys like Macklin Celebrini, Jack Harvey, all these guys who are supposed to be the best players in the USHL. What was that series like?
So I did play Chicago. That was one of the teams I did play in the regular season before. And Celebrini was like, I don't exactly remember. I think he had a concussion or something was wrong with him, but he only played that first game. And obviously he was injured, so like I don't really think he was on that first game. But he definitely was on when we played them earlier this season because I've never seen a player like that in my life, especially being like that young. And so yeah, going into it, we knew that this was going to be like a real test for us. Like if we beat Chicago at this point, like we could safely say that we were better than them this season. Like it all came down to that series, and so.
And that conference series is best of how many?
That one was best of 5.
Best of 5.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was best of 5. Yeah. I don't know. I was blanking there for a second, but yeah, we walk into their rink. First 2 games were away, and like I mean, it is a youth rink, but the stands are big. And it was packed. And
was it? Because they only have the stands on that one side, and like you walk in and you're like, where am I?
Like it definitely feels like a youth rink when you're like, I mean, like we're rolling out on like the concrete floor, like on the surface of it. Like it definitely was a youth. Like it felt like it, but I mean it was packed. and their fans were rowdy, and we kicked the shit out of them in that first game. So
Did you? What was the score of that first game?
5 or 6 to 1. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
We kicked the crap out of them, and so that was awesome. Obviously, they kicked the shit out of us the next night, but again, every ending to the series. I mean, even though Fargo's series, again, we'll get to it. Even though that's we swept them, it seems like it was a blowout. Every series was not a blowout. Again, going 8-1 in playoffs, it looks it was not we made it.
It wasn't that easy.
We maybe made it look easy, but it was not easy. Every step of the way was a grind, and so losing that second game to them, you're happy that you split, and you have the opportunity to win at home, but we were all scared. We wanted to having the opportunity to sweep them at home. It's just, I don't know. So when we went back home, and William Whitelaw in that game 4 or whatever does some other crazy angel-like play.
Tosses the stick over.
Oh my god!
He tossed the stick over.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So that was game what?
That was game 4. I skipped the game, but
yeah. So we
won the third game.
You won the series in 4 games.
Yeah. So we 3-1, 3-1 that series, and then the morning after. Because the really cool thing about the whole experience for everyone on our team is that because we hadn't had a real playoff run in since 2018 or something.
Yeah.
And obviously none of us were on the team back then, so the ownership, Bruce Solden, who's been 20 years
forever,
of Bruce Solden, forever, and so he him coming in every time we win a series and giving a little speech, it's just different.
Fires you up.
Yeah, it's just it's you could tell that this meant more than just 20 teenagers going and playing junior hockey. Everybody getting all those fans that we had. It was just way bigger than us at that point, and so I'm just really happy that I was able to be a part of that. But either way, the next morning we drove 17 hours or whatever out to Fargo. Brought everybody, which was
unreal.
Which
How
was awesome.
How was that drive? Was it fun?
So we split it up. Half the team went in a sleeper bus, the other half went in a coach bus. I think it was mainly the roster guys went in the sleeper bus, but it was amazing that we brought everybody. I think having the entirety of our organization out in Fargo with us for those 2 unreal wins, that was just another piece of it. We were just so happy to all be there, and it just felt so surreal being the last 2 teams playing. And so we spent the night in the Ramada in Fargo, which was still the craziest hotel experience I've ever had.
Is that right?
Seeing Michael and James Fisher open their key card into their room and seeing it's a janitor's closet, not a real room.
No way.
That's just something I'm never gonna forget. But
wait, what happened after they opened the door?
Well, they just started screaming, and so everyone came out of their rooms and walked in to see how it was a normal room. But it was just filled to the brim with maybe 25 different hotel mattresses. The bathroom was overflowing with cleaning supplies. It was a janitor's closet and it disguised as their room. So
no shot.
Yeah, that was a great welcome to Fargo moment right there. But
it was North Dakota State graduation.
That's why.
Every
because
in Fargo was booked.
Oh, so it was packed in Fargo.
Well, because I think it was just coincidentally all these other colleges were having their graduation, so. We obviously didn't book the hotels until we won.
Right.
And so, we landed a sweet spot in the Ramada.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And so, not a big deal, but you actually had 2 big goals in that championship series. Walk us through those.
Yeah, I was playing with maybe my favorite line that I've ever played with, Hunter Bischoff and Tyler Catalano. I think we just understood the role we had to play, and we were the 4th line, we were the ID line, I think, and we went out every shift. We our goal wasn't to go up and throw up all these points. We wanted to forecheck hard, we wanted to reload hard, and we wanted to just play a simple structured game. And so I think all of playoffs we did a great job of that. Obviously we saw some success with those goals you just mentioned in that last series, but I think that was the culmination, I feel of just us being a very, very good chemistry. Whatever the word is.
Yeah.
We just had good chemistry, I think.
Doing the right things.
Yeah, I think.
So 2 wins in Fargo.
Yeah.
In front of 4,000.
They were
4,000
packed,
fans.
yeah.
So then you go back to Youngstown in front of was it the first sellout ever?
There were so many.
The first one I know.
For those of you who don't know, the Covelli Center is it's a pretty big arena. Like I'd be surprised if that place could get filled up. Like especially in Youngstown, Ohio.
Here, Vasa, you can put a picture right now of what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean we had a DJ and like our locker room is not like. It's like almost a separate building than where the rink is, and we could still hear like the walls and ceiling vibrating from whoever. Like I can't remember who the DJ was, but he did a great job. And there were like 6,200 people there.
6,200. It was like
that's wild.
5,800 people in seats, and then there was like 400 standing room.
And so like when you walk out, like after warm-ups, you're like walking out on the ice and you see everyone waving their white towels. Like, it's like like I've seen something similar like this in like NHL playoffs. But like obviously it's not the same thing at all, but like it just oh my god. Like
I mean I'm sure you guys have never seen something like that.
It felt unbelievable, like to be on the ice for something like that, and like seeing the roar of them all when we won, like
1-0 game.
And they were done. Like once Strabone scored, they were done. I mean it definitely didn't feel like it. Like we were all still like terrified, but like they were done.
When did he score that?
Like the first minute or two of the third period.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were done because they were like I think they were outplaying us most of that game, and
it was definitely a back and forth game.
It was back and forth like at best, but I think that they were outplaying us a little bit. But Fowler obviously it's Jacob Fowler like
he had like a 970.
I mean he comes we roll into the dry stalls before the game and he's like, dude, we're winning this game. All right.
Talk a little bit about Fowler because we played with him for a long time before Youngstown.
Yeah.
You know, Southeast District. He played Florida Alliance. How was he as a teammate on Youngstown, and how good was he on that playoff run?
I mean, what did he have? Like a 951 save percentage, which is unheard of, and so he was obviously amazing. But I think him as a kid, like. I mean, I feel like every goalie is a little different. Like they're all pretty unique in their own right. So I think I didn't really know what to expect because like I didn't really know him well until this year, and because I was only there for a week, I didn't really know him well until January of this year, and so I think I did spend a lot of time with him, especially because he works really hard. Yeah. So he was in the gym a lot. Like I would work out after the team. Just because I was doing my own stuff, like during the rehab, like this is at the beginning of the rehab process for me in Youngstown, and so like when I'm doing my like weird hip stuff, he's still like lifting and he's doing all this stuff. So I did get to know him a lot at the beginning, and then for game days, like you really see like, not him in his true form, but you just like see another side of him because I think he gets there around the same time as I do. Like I like to get there early, so it's usually me, him, and his roommate Tori Pittner, and then our other goalie, and Hunter Bischoff, Colin Wynn, and then Hunter Bischoff, and so we're all like there in the dry room together. So what I was referring to earlier is like me and him are alone in the dry room, getting changed out of our suits, and he like looks at me, he's like, "Dude, like, how do you feel like we're gonna lift the Clark Cup tonight?" I'm like, "Dude, you can't say that." Like,
he was sure of it. He was sure of it.
Like, dude, you can't say that. Like, what are you saying right now? And he's like, dude, I just know. Like, I have faith. Like, we're going to win this game. And I'm like, all right, Jake. Like,
I mean, the guy didn't let up a goal. So third period, you guys are up 1-0.
Yeah.
Last few minutes of the game, how does it end?
Yeah, I think at that point, like, we were just doing everything possible to keep the puck, like, out of our D zone and, like, chipping everything off the walls, chipping everything off the glass, and keeping it away from like, I don't know, like, just a normal, like, lockdown game. But I thought, like, again, like it was all kind of a blur. Like I don't really remember how that game ended, other than like when the final horn, when Matt Lipschak goes, "A view from the top of the net." Like that's just like, I don't really remember exactly how it ended, but it was awesome.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And then when you got to lift that trophy, I mean, I'm sure it felt pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the coolest part for me was like everyone was just so excited. I think I maybe like hugged maybe like 100 people on the ice. Like we're just so like. Even without that, like it was obviously awesome to like hold it, like see Shane pick up this trophy. But like we were just so happy together, like as a group, and that's just a moment that I'll never forget.
Yeah, how are the celebrations?
The nightlife in Youngstown. No, it was a lot of fun. I think so. Our equipment trainer, he has like a herd of people that help him out on game days, and one of them happens to. I don't know exactly if he like owns it or co-owns like the public, like one of the best public golf courses in the area, and they happen to have a there's like a restaurant, a patio, and
It's like a hotel.
yeah, there's a hotel, but like I think usually there aren't like really nice patios and hotels with a golf course on it, so it just worked out perfectly that he was able to like get us all there, and we were all there as a team. All the billets came and played some golf there. I think we were maybe camped out there for the next like week, but
dude, that's
it was
insane.
it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun there until the rally, and the rally was unreal too. Like there's like an amphitheater in the park like nearby the rink. And that same DJ came back and had a field day.
I mean, he had to, right?
I think he DJ'd Mahomes and Travis Kelce's Super Bowl parties.
That could
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, you have to give a plug. What's his name?
It's like Easy or Easy. I think his name is like actually ED, or it's like 2 letters. I don't know. Easy.
Shout out that guy.
We'll figure out your name. But
all right. Well, so you talk about winning the championship.
Yeah.
What have you been up to since you guys won? What have you been doing this summer?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we had main camp like 2 to 3 weeks after that. So I came home, had my brother's graduation from college, and then I immediately had to start getting ready for that. So it was really funny. Like we get to main camp and everyone's like reminiscing on the good old days of like, oh my god, it was like such a fun year. Like I was like, guys, like this was like 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? But no, so that was like a fun week. Like obviously, I think we showed out a lot of great talent at that camp. Like I'm excited for our team this year, and I think we're gonna be good.
Nice little root canal at main camp.
Oh yeah, got some jibs loose at
what happened?
Camp. Took a stick, bottom teeth here. Yeah, it was my mom didn't love that. But
how many teeth was it?
So I chipped one of them, and then a couple others were like propped up or whatever, like they got knocked out. So I got a root canal there, and then came home. I've been still on the process of fixing up everything, but yeah, no, that's it's all good now.
All right, so what else do you like to do during the summer in your free time when you're not at the rink or in the gym?
Yeah, we so we have a place on the water in Annapolis. I think my dad and my mom, like they're not really, I think they love it here, like living in Maryland, and I think my dad loves what he does here, and I don't see him retiring out somewhere else. Like
most underrated state. Maryland might be the most underrated state.
Maryland's awesome. So I think because of that, we were like, the place that we got is like a recent purchase. I think it was like 2021 or something. So instead of going like off to Florida or somewhere, I no disrespect to any other places, but I think they wanted a place like that was a 45-minute drive for us to have our summer home. So spent a lot of time out there on the water, which was a lot of fun. And then getting into golf, there was a little hiatus in my golf career because of the hip surgeries, but I'm back on the grind now. So playing some golf.
What are you shooting nowadays?
Oh, let's just move on to the next one.
It's gotta be better than this guy.
No, dude, I'm not that bad. I'm not.
What are you shooting?
I wouldn't call myself a stick, but like I'm not.
We'll hit the links sometime soon. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
let's just keep the score talk to a minimum.
All right.
On the
what? Sure.
Yeah.
I know you're a big water sports guy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do on the water?
Wake surfing by far. I mean, that's like a classic one, I think, especially because it's like for hockey, it's like so low key. Like wakeboarding, I feel like every time I do it, like I always just have some sort of injury afterwards, and so like wake surfing is just super mellow. And
wait, so wakeboarding is when you have your feet.
Yeah, it's when you have your feet in and you're
when your feet are planted.
They're like locked
into the boots, and surfing is free.
It's just like a miniature surfboard, and you're right up next to the boat. But like the problem with wakeboarding is like there's no like activities to do other than jumping when you're like doing it. So like I always jump and I always just destroy my knees or something.
Right.
But like for wake surfing, like it's just fun, like chilling or like attempting a 360 that I still can't do. But like,
no, it's kind of funny because I had my first experience ever wake surfing in the beginning of June, and my first ever wakeboarding experience in the middle of July. And I thought they were both really fun. Mm-hmm. I actually got up my first time ever on wake surfing. First try. Yeah,
I do think that wake surfing, for that same reason, is like, because like I feel like everybody should, like, can and should try to do it. Like it's way not like easier, but like it's like a more like beginner friendly sport.
Yeah, the wakeboarding definitely took me a couple more tries. Yeah. I thought overall wake surfing is more fun. Yeah. Gives more versatility to what you want to do. Yeah. I don't know. I mean they're both fun. They're both like cool water sports, but surfing's definitely cool. I mean you see those insane videos of guys like doing crazy jumps.
Shout out Tyler Isles, an old Team Maryland teammate of ours. That kid, I've never like that dude can wake surf. Like, go check out his Instagram. He posts some crazy wake surfing
The
videos.
two French kids.
Oh yeah. Well, they were doing like, this is insane. So for like Maryland Black Bears training camp, they came and like we were like wake surfing at our house in Annapolis, and they have these two French twins who ended up playing at Mercer with him.
Okay.
And they were like, they like didn't speak because like they were so foreign. They like weren't speaking like really a lot to anybody except to each other in French. And then everyone's like wake surfing, and they're like, "Oh, can I wakeboard?" And we're like, "Oh, okay, sure." And so they get up. They're like, and they're just doing backflips. Like, just like out of nowhere, they just start cranking backflips. And I was like, "What is going on?" Yeah, it was nuts. But yeah, that was funny.
They ripped it. Like,
I mean, they just like, oh, like casually, like, can I try wakeboarding? And we're like, okay, like, do you need me to teach you? And he's like, no, I'll figure it out. And then he's just doing backflips. Like,
that's unreal.
Yeah.
I love the water.
Did you have anything else?
No, I think we kind of covered almost everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Great episode 4, Power Play Puck podcast. Stay tuned. I'm not sure when we're gonna post this, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Peace.